Hello and welcome to Writing as Dictated by Deathshead. Prompt 2 to 350 words regarding sailing the stars. There's a herb on another planet that can stop this epidemic of death. So, initial thoughts. This. We're meant to be traveling somewhere else? A different planet? Something? Maybe literally between the stars? Maybe to another planet? Um, if there's a herb there that can stop death, well, how do we know this? Or... Oh, timer definitely start. How do we know this? And how does it help us? Presumably, if it was... We know it because there's some sort of communication system with that location, then they could just send us information on whatever it is about the herb that can fix this. So I don't think a high science, high technology setting makes sense for this prompt. This prompt feels to me like it makes more sense with a Oh, you're welcome, Deathshead. Feels like it's more sensible to do with a like fantasy slash magic slash non-sciencey solution to how are we in another place. Because otherwise, it feels like the answer would just be they would send us the information on the herb back, however we know it's there. So... Thoughts? How do we know? How Oracle? How does the plant help? Do we bring it back? Are we going to grow it? How do we travel? Magic makes more sense than high tech. To me, it's conflict. So if we're traveling to another planet where there is this herb, what will our conflict be? Is it a colonized planet? Like, are there people there? Are we going to have to trade for this plant? Do they know about it? If it's something that we're bringing back, are we bringing it back with the intention of growing it? If not, is it like something that only grows on this planet for whatever reason? Maybe our own planet has different conditions, or if we're going with a magic solution because we don't like the high-tech based on this aspect of the prompt, then maybe there can be a magical reason that the plant wouldn't grow on our own planet. So there could be a whole lot of things. There could be getting plant from natives, trade, war. Reason for now. Or is this included for some reason? Magic? Different conditions on planet? Alternatively, is it a multi-layered exploration in terms of being an explorer, sailing the stars, of maybe there's a sort of vaguely planet of the dinosaurs or planet of the weird animals planet. Um, it was in the prompt, Solar. That was what the prompt was on the page. Sailing the stars, the next line, there's a herb on another planet that can stop this epidemic of death. Next line. So is it like jungle planet, no people, but we have to explore / find the plant, i.e. we know it is there, but where? Okay. We travel both there and back. It's on the planet. So, teleport? Portal? Just walking around? If we're sticking with the sciencey, low, not high-tech answer, it feels like just walking around once we're on the planet makes sense. Maybe if there's magic, we can have some sort of, magic carpet, broom, flying solution. But don't want to necessarily make character too able. Anyway, let's update this. Boop. Okay. Can we change our view a bit? Yeah, there we go. Oh, why don't you like new line? Because I'm an idiot and I did the wrong direction /. It's been a while since I've done any latexing. I'll have to, well, I took it as part of the prompt. They could make their formatting clearer. Okay. So, let's pick some solutions, answers that we're going to these questions. So... Sure, I like the Oracle solution. I haven't really thought of anything else. Maybe there was some sort of, magic spell or something that we could have had that would also give the same answer as just an Oracle. But Oracle seems fine. So... And the other option would be to have, not just a fantasy magic system, but a maybe even, wow. I'm thinking fantasy magic as opposed with a splitting it between, having explicit gods, and you could even get some sort of, a Greek/Roman, or even other, but, a god-themed system where perhaps your people are dying and you are, you've done the traditional go request supplicant to God to find a solution, and God is, you must go on a quest. And then, God snaps fingers, teleports you to other planet. You must find the plant that looks like this. This is the solution. So, Oracle / asking God How are we getting there? We decided we like magic. We don't like high-tech solutions, so magic slash... deity teleports us. Are we intending to grow the plant, or... I mean, if it's stopping an epidemic, you'd think you'd need a lot of this plant. It's hard to imagine how a single plant is going to fix a whole epidemic. Like, I can't see bringing plant back to make one potion. Maybe it grows like crazy. Grows a lot, or else if we're going with the deity thing, maybe it's just the god decides that this is a thing they really want, and they will magic snap the disease away if you complete their trial slash quest, which is bring them this fancy plant. Oracle in order. Put these in the correct order. How are we traveling to and from? Magic slash deity teleports us, and conflict. So if it's a grows one, the conflicts listed already work, where it could be conflict with natives or move around. But the more I've spoken about the deity sort of quest solution, the easier that sounds. So perhaps there are people on this planet. Low tech planet with alien people, but they have their own god, which is why ours can't be here directly. So sends you instead. That seems like a reasonable answer. Now if it's ours is sending us instead, is it just that it's a dangerous place and it's therefore inherently valuable / worth proving that we wander around in this dangerous place for animal reasons, animal and or plant reasons. Environmental reasons that aren't, like, intelligent aliens. Or Are they sending us because there are other natives, and that means, yeah, I kind of like that, because otherwise you'd think the god would just be like, oh, there's a plant there, I want it, finger snap, it gets there. Having a system, well, system is a strong word, but having the reasoning being that he's not allowed to, like, directly himself, well, they are, there's no reason that God has to be male. Yeah, is it man versus man or man versus nature? I kind of like the man versus man solution, because otherwise it's hard to imagine why. I mean, I suppose there could be a nature deity on the planet that, yeah, actually, now that I say that, I don't mind that. There's no reason the planet that we're going to's own deity couldn't be like a nature deity, that it has to be of other people. So we're basically transforming into either a sort of Hercules quest, or maybe a... If we're going versus nature, it's like a Hercules quest. If we're going versus people, then it could be we're vaguely Indiana Jones, and, like, there's a low-tech peoples, and maybe this flower is in the center of their temple-ish sort of thing. Okay. And then what's the outline going to be? Now, with the prompt things also said that, like, you're not meant to try and tell a whole story. You're meant to be doing, like, a single scene from a story. Don't try and condense big story into 250 to 300 words. So... it probably makes the most sense to be entering at the, like, essentially the point of action. Why do I keep doing the wrong slashes? Ooh. I'm sorry, what? Oh, you don't like it when I don't do something for a reason. Okay. Now are you happier? Yes. Good. Double good. Scene. So what are our options? Our options would be to be either... Well, the options that make sense to me would either be the action scene... entering temple / some natural obstacle to overcome. Then acquiring flour. Another option would be actually having the discussion with the, you find giving your protagonist a name can help focus things. Another option would be having the scene set on the, like, Oracle / God talk. And then ending on being transported to the new planet and it being weird. Trademark. So that gives... Option 1 would be mostly person thinking and, like, description of environment and doing things. Option 2 would be dialogue based. And then a little bit of a description of how the planet is weird at the end. So... action-based / thoughts. Dialogue-based / description of weird world. There. Both of those make, I think, reasonable sense for scenes to do around this idea. We need another new line. Keep doing the wrong slashes. There we go. Okay. Which of those do I like more? I don't think I want to write dialogue for a god. I think I would have trouble doing that. So I think the action scene would be easier for me. Okay. Not new page. New line. Outline. New line. So how do we think the outline will go? Double new line. And we kind of want to cut into the action. So, probably something action-y. Hero thinks, why am I here? And answers, something small actiony, or medium, not big, medium actiony. Encounters big obstacle. Overcome. flashed back home. Can we fit that in that space? I do not have a good idea about that. We can only try. So this is grab interest. This is motivation. This is problem. Solution. Resolution. Maybe I'm trying... Yeah, I'm probably trying to fit too much into 350, but we'll see. New line. Okay. Hero name. Sarah. What? No. Ret. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Now, jungle is easy. There are blobs of words going on, yes. Jungle is fairly easy, tropey setting. So actually we need to give this a title. Writing attempt. Like. Results. Attempt, yeah. I mean, technically it's, what's the word? Synthesis. Hasseret moved carefully through the dense, rich, moist, thick. Ooh, thick. What's a synonym for, like, jungly? Even if jungly isn't a word. Synonym, jungle. Forest, waste, woodland. Tangle, undergrowth. Jungle, undergrowth. The clicking... Periodic. Shrilling? Cicadas were mentioned the other day, and I kind of like the idea of there being some alien cicada thing. That's making noise and being distracting. A periodic... Periodic and unfamiliar. Calls, cries. Words for noise insect makes. chirp, trill, lisp, zit, tsip? What the hell is a tsip? Yeah. I don't know. I want chirp, but I want chirp that's, like, more offensive. I want, like, angry chirp to be, like, angry, loud, aggressive chirp. Well, I guess we can just use angry. Periodic, unfamiliar, and overwhelming. Chirps of unfamiliar insects. Move carefully through the jungle with the periodic, unfamiliar, and overwhelming chirps of unfamiliar insects. And here I want, like, distracting from paying attention to what they're doing. Like, they can't... They are having trouble... Chitter? Yeah, fine, chitter. Chitter of unfamiliar insects. At a concept level, I want... distracting them from maintaining a state of cat-like readiness. As they move towards goal. Yeah, okay, we need to come and actually define the rest of that sentence, but I'm happy with that from a, like, displaying concept that we will flesh out later level. Now, is it going to let me do things like that, or is it going to get grumpy? No, it's not going to get grumpy. That's what my square, well, pointy brackets are going to be shorthand for the moment. Turning their head in response to call. Okay, we'll do it at concept level and try and flesh out more later. Insect right next to them. Chirps. They look at it. In doing so, almost trip. Then thinks to self, the equivalent of why am I here? And answers how am I going to word this in a way that isn't just like, I've been sent on a Herculean quest to make God happy so he finger snaps disease away. Avoid listed boon for deity name and title, because otherwise it needs to be clear that they're a deity. To fix epidemic. sure. Let's check that. 66. So it's allowed to be about 4 times longer than that. Now, keeping in mind that this is concept, and it probably gets a bit longer as I try to actually convert concept into, like, continuous descriptive prose. What can the big obstacle be? We could have, like... We're in a jungle. What's our big obstacle? It's a bit hard to imagine, like, a... If it was a forest, you could have, like, a grove clearing. And have some sort of supernaturally perfect grove being, like, the embodiment. We could always have a dragon. If it was a forest, then, like, having a supernaturally perfect clearing would kind of make sense. But if the setting has been defined as... I suppose we could convert to forest. Cicadas work in a forest as well as a jungle. Sure, wow. Alien, legally distinct, not cicadas. Okay. So, encounters... clearing... supernaturally... perfect slash... like... halo sunlight sort of stuff. With... super flower... at the center. And then is it... is it guarded by some sort of guardian? Blobber original creature, do not steal. Yes. My not cicadas. I kind of like guarded by supernatural creature. But then how are we defeating supernatural creature? It can be cliched and just be like, we are low-tech sword person or Hercules. Like, we stab it. Or we can wait for creature to step away and hunt. And then it becomes like, oh no, the creature has tricked us into thinking it's left. And as we enter the clearing, We hear it from behind us and it becomes sprint for flower, perhaps? Well, let's try and flesh out the bit until here. If I'm having trouble deciding how I like that to go, we can at least try and flesh out these bits. So, as Sierra moved carefully for the forest-like undergrowth, the periodic and unfamiliar and overwhelming chitter of unfamiliar insects. Continuing? Continuing? Wow. What are synonyms for repeating? Repeated. Copied, duplicated, recast, redone, refashioned. No, those are not sort of what I want. Intermittent? Infrequent, occasional, recurrent. I could live with recurrent. A recurring distraction. From safely awarely? What's like synonyms for remaining aware? Apprehensive, attentive, cognizant, informed, familiar, receptive, mindful, wise. I mean, attentive is the closest there. What does attentive give us? Observant, vigilant, watchful, conscientious, heedful. Heedful is kind of right, but maybe a bit old. Although I suppose if we're doing sort of vaguely Greek god parallel setting, then old-ish language doesn't misfit necessarily. Remaining heedful. Of the dangers of this wondrous and alien world. Not alien. Alien. Well, yeah. Okay. Now, do we describe something that seems particularly angry? You think some older language goes well in fantasy story? Yeah. Well, you don't want to feel like you're slathering it on, but the sprinkling of the old words. Sure. The unexpected. And deafening? Get words down and get words down. Critique words later. We've burnt like a third of the time, and I've not got a third of the words on the page. The unexpected and cacophonous, loud, deafening. We'll just go with deafening. Well, yeah, we'll go with deafening. Deafening cry of a large, iridescent. We need commas. Tree. Okay, hasslerettes. Right. We'll rearrange that sentence. So its head turned. Well, also, if we're doing action, I should do it in present tense to make it feel more active, but I'm not used to writing in that sense. I am very, very used to writing as a engineer/scientist, where it's all procedural declarative. Here is the thing we did. Everything is in past tense. Everything is descriptive of actions taken. I'm aware at a concept level of things like we should write in the present tense to make things seem more active and more interesting, but I'm going to have a hard time with that, and I will just for the moment probably write in past tense, but with the note that we can change tense to make it more appropriate later. Should change to present tense or actioniness. After its head turned to face a large iridescent insect on a tree to the right in response to its unexpected and definite cry. Inattention there. I want to say forward path. A story can be in past tense, Salah, but choosing what tense for what scene does help change tone and mood. Whether you're doing a scene in first, second, or third person, and whether you're doing it in present, past, or conceptually also possible future, but future is hard to use, tense. And also how it fits into your whole story. If for the rest of your story you're in like first person all the time, then suddenly if one scene changes into another view, it can be a bit jarring. Their inattention to... like, what's navigating? Orienteering? No, navigating is too marine. Orienteering. Not dictionary, thesaurus. Give. Orienteer. Can I please have my synonym? Yeah. No, I'm not. Go. Nah, it just takes me to dictionary. Okay, fine. Failed thesaurus. We'll go with orienteering. Their inattention to their... well, this inattention causing them to stumble and we've changed to a forest, so stumbling over a route. Treasure Island is one of the few first-person books with multiple viewpoints. I didn't know that. Causing them to stumble over a route. Bless me. A route. Well, maybe it can be a misshapen stone. On a stone buried in the... now, what kind of forest? Are we going with deciduous or non-deciduous? I think we're going with non-deciduous. Although deciduous isn't really feel very fantasy. In the carpet of leaf litter from the overhead? Overhead. Evergreen trees. Now, we've used trees once, so I've got to be careful not to be like, trees, 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 trees. But, twice in 2 sentences isn't... we just got to be mindful. Twice in 2 sentences we can handle. Yes, let's update. Check our word count. No, not 70, 75-ish. And then how are we going to indicate? We're going to want, like, italics. Italics will do. How do we do italics in here again? What's the italic equivalent of /BF series? I haven't done this in a long time. IT shape? Test, test, test. Yes, that gives italics. Cool. Ooh, and this gives us the opportunity to use the god's name as like a blaspheming for like falling over. So, what can God's name be? Doll. The girl. It's too many apostrophes. Doll Rao. Doll Rock? Doll Rep. Doll Ram? And then how are we going to turn it into Doll Ram? So what we have, we'd have like how are we going to use the god's name as a curse? Well, we could do it by Dolrams. What attribute can this god have? Are we Hera of the white arms? Boy, Dolrams. Enveloping eyes? My Dolrams. I like the idea of the eyes that you can fall into, but I don't know how to express that. Regaining their footing. They thought. They lamented. Regaining their footing. Yeah, I can live with that. And then we introduce the concept of the actual thing. Shapona was the Yoruba god of smallpox. Yeah, we can adapt that a bit. How are we going to change it a bit? Oh, nah. We can have 2 apostrophes. Except now that needs to be here. Why have we got 2 of these? Because I've duplicated it for no obvious reasons. Regaining their footing. You do all too well. Hero name. You. I want to go with begged, but well, begged is going to have to do. I'm not entirely happy with begged, but because you begged for opponent's help to end the wasting sickness that had befallen your village. Actually, the village. They wouldn't think about their own village in a separate thing. Okay. As the cost of this boon, you agreed to go traipsing around fetch. A touched flower, or a flower. A distant realm. Touched by a distant god. Bring it. Yep, that'll do. Do. It's maybe a bit too much of a internal narrative at once, but I guess we'll have to do. You can use it. I am unused to using like I either use this or Notepad. Those are my two extremes. And I want to be able to do like italics and bolding and stuff. So Notepad's kinda not good enough. Also, it is lovely getting exact spacing and exact new lines and tabbing how you want them, but anyway. OCD to do with tabbing. This is LaTeX. I use TextWorks as my LaTeX text editor. This is a PDF. It directly produces sort of PDF stuff that you get as a uni handout. You hit this, it runs the software that converts your text, your essentially commands into the produced PDF, and separate to that, it also produces the actual like PDF as well. It's just nice that it shows you the current one, so you can hit recompile, re-update, and look at how it looks at the moment. This is the standard sort of thing you would use for writing the journal article, thesis, handout at uni, something like this. Tutorial. Papers for a tutorial. Lab report, whatever. Now. Well. / font. Sierra admonished themselves. Because yes. They thought as the trees ahead began to thin. Sure, new line. Stepping, striding. We've already used stepping, so we should use something else. Striding and peering forward. To the approaching clearing. Passerette noted. The sun. The sunlight turn. Well, we should. I want to split this into two bits. First, say that they notice that it's otherworldly, then describe the ways that it's... See you, Akaturbo. Then describe the ways in which it's otherworldly. It became clear that this was the, I want to say, like, target of their quest. The clearing was clearly God-touched. Now, we already used carpeted, so we shouldn't use carpet. But we could have, like, blanketed. Ah! The sunlight. Warm. And as if... I want to say coming from every direction, but I can't think of the elegant way to say that. The ground carpeted in... sea? Well, actually, the ground... We'll make it into a... analogy, simile, metaphor, one of these things. The ground, a sea of... harlequin flowers? How do you use it as a... how do you use it? Well, sea of multicolored flowers, perhaps. I like harlequin, but I'm not sure if that's the correct usage of harlequin. Multicolored? Question mark. Flowers. The air. The air. Flowers. Sweet scent. Apparent, despite the unnatural. Any breeze. Okay. What is our monster? Well, no, we should, well... Do we have person, notice, monster, and then flower, or flower and then monster? Also, where does that get us to? Does that get us to 100? No way that's suddenly 200. Surely that's not suddenly 200. Okay, yeah, it's kind of suddenly jumped up from like 77 to 200 without me noticing. We don't have long left. Now, admittedly, probably like 30 of those are actually the commands like IT shape, normal font and stuff. I'm probably actually a little bit under that 200 rather than over, but broad strokes, word count higher than I thought it would be. Scent of which... Ooh, I like this. The scent of which changed with every passing moment. Despite the unnatural lack of even the smallest breeze. The flowers constantly give off different smells, seems very, like, magical nature goddy. At least I think so. I like it, and it's my opinion that matters here. Oh. Okay. Okay. How do we do the next bit? It's my story. It is my story. uh, and what kind of flower do we want it to be? I don't even know what flowers occur in forests, really. I'm more a forest flower. What have we got? Well, it actually says herb on another planet. It doesn't have to be flower. So perhaps there can be at the center of this grove, like a tree with... Yeah, it can be like a bottle brush tree. Why not? Maybe there's something magical about these bottle brushes. Well, let's also look up the definition of herb. Can I stretch that to be... any plant with leaves, seeds, or flowers used for flavoring food, medicine, or perfume. Yeah, so I can stretch that to be any... It has to not have a woody stem in botany, but that's the more formal meaning. And dies down to the ground after flowering. Feeling a bit stuck. Give us a sec. And I suppose we can recompile. It's been a bit. New line, new line. New line, new line. And that was... sort of detailed outline working towards you don't like new line, new line? Yeah, there we go. Okay, I have an idea. It's an alien magical plant. We don't have to be too tied up on its definition of a herb. Maybe. Maybe I'm being too... Definitions matter! Taxological nomenclature is important. Center of this idyllic grove. Single tree. School days. And then the tree can be doing sort of vaguely continuous Harry Potter Whomping Willow sort of thing where it's continually swapping through all of the seasons in a exceedingly super magical way. Well, I took it as part of the prompt. But maybe that's me on me misinterpreting their formatting. It felt like it was part of the prompt. It's a wonder to behold. Constantly shifting. As though the seasons and years passing breaths. Actually, that means I have to go back and make this a non-evergreen forest. My universe would be non-self-consistent. I'm redacting the evergreen nature of the forest so that we can have... Otherwise, Super Tree continually, like, changing season does nothing. Spring forth. should be springing forth. Turning orange. Falling. The leaves springing forth. Leaves and flowers, or leaves and... What the hell do you call the, like, flowery bits of a Banksia tree? Are they actually called flowers? No, bottle brush, sorry, not Banksia. What are they called? Yeah, they're called flowers. Cool. Leaves and flowers. Growing. Blossoming. Withering. And falling. And what can we have for like a short period of time in our ancient Greek setting? Before we said in the span of a couple of breaths. We'll go with in mere moments. Sure. And now we need, like, one flower that stays the same while all the others are doing this, and that's the one that we have to get. So all except for a single... single flower. Larger than all the rest. Which was timeless. Perfect and timeless. Timeless against this sea chaos. And the object of Asterisk's quest. Okay. Save. File. Word count. Hello? Word count. 290. Okay, we don't have much left to, what was the last thing? We'd run out of what I'd decided on. So now we need to decide on monster question mark. Or perhaps some sort of direct manifestation of nature god. Or we can be a teaser and just leave it there. We've spotted the thing that's clearly the magical thing, but that's the end. That does mean I'm easily within the word count, and I'm nicely at, like, pretty much the midpoint of the word count. And I can go back and try and clear up some of these things that we have as concepts in pointy brackets, but haven't explicitly finished sentence writing of. Yeah. Yep, I'm happy with leaving that on the teaser. Okay. Teaser ending instead of this for word count raisons. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Blah. Yes. So instead this is turning their head. You face a large iridescent insect. That can become a multiple sentence. Or we can we can have it in attention. Come on, we need your full name. Yes, that works. Depthless. Eyes. Why am I even here? Lamented. Regaining their footing. You know all too well. They admonish themselves. You decided to play at being like one of the heroes. The old tales. that? Holy? Holy? Hmm. What did they do to, like... They do something to things like Zeus and whatnot, where they give them, like, an appellation. Like Pallas Athena? Can we do something like that? We can do something like that. So instead of Pallas, we can have... Well, we could turn it into an adjective. So what is a... What was it? You said it was a god of, like, smallpox or something? I forget. I'm gonna need to scroll up. Blah, 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 blah. What was it? Here we go. Yoruba, the god of smallpox. Uncaring. Cost of this boon, you agreed to go traipsing around, fetch a flower from a distant land, one touched by a distant god, and to bring it to them. They thought, as the trees ahead began to thin. Striding and peering forwards to the approaching clearing, it became clear that this was the... Sanctum? Can we have synonyms for sanctum? Shrine... Chanchel? Chanchel? What is a chanchel? Also, I might go with sanctum. No, it's a part of a church. Does sanctum necessarily mean inside a building? I want, like... Yeah, so sanctum doesn't quite have the needs to be inside a buildingness of those other words, so I'm going to stick with sanctum. The clearing was clearly God-touched, the sunlight warm and as if... coming both from nowhere and yet from every direction at once. The ground, a sea of harlequin. Harlequined. Sea of harlequin flowers. The scent of which changed with every passing moment, despite the unnatural lack of even the smallest breeze. At the center of this idyllic grove stood a single tree, the tree a wonder to behold. Unpast tensify it. The tree a wonder to behold, constantly shifting as though the seasons and years were passing in the span of breaths, leaves and flowers glowing, growing, blossoming, withering, and falling in mere moments. All except for a single flower larger than all the rest, which was perfect and timeless against this sea of... And I don't want chaos, I want, like, the ages. Against this roiling sea of passing years. That'll do. Wondrous, and the object of Hasaret's quest. Yep. Okay. And then formatting. Can we make our formatting somewhat neat in that time? I see. Well, actually, let's zoom in even more. Hycerat moved carefully through the forest-like undergrowth. The periodic, unfamiliar, and overwhelming chitter of unfamiliar insects. I don't like undergrowth and unfamiliar. Oh no, it's because unfamiliar is here and here. Okay, so let's get rid of... Yep, that's... Expression bad! Boo! Bad blobber. The big red ball is big and red. The periodic and overwhelming chitter of unfamiliar insects, fix do. Move carefully through the forest through the forest. Foresty? The forest... No, we don't want like. It's actually a forest. Done. Through the forest undergrowth, the periodic and overwhelming chitter of unfamiliar insects, a reoccurring distraction from remaining heedful of the dangers of this wondrous and alien world. Turning their head to face a large, iridescent insect, comma, on the tree to their right. In response to its unexpected and deafening cry. Hasierra's inattention causing them to stumble upon a stone buried in the carpet. In the carpet of leaf litter from the overhead trees. By uncaring Shapona's depthless eyes. Why am I even here? They lamented, regaining their footing. You know all too well. Hasierret admonished themselves. You decided to play at being like one of the heroes of the old tales, and begged for Shapona's help to end the wasting sickness that had befallen the village. As the cost of this boon, you agreed to go traipsing around and fetch a flower from a distant land, one touched by a distant god. and bring it to them. If we've got some words to spare at the end, we'll add in a comment about how even the stars here aren't the same. To sort of tie back to the star theme and try to make clear that this is on a different world, not just... Like, although they're describing it as a distant land, that's just the... We are sort of low-tech and the god is explaining that we're sending you somewhere far away in a way that you will understand. So I want Control F to it to them. That's not a full stop. Can have a comma. I thought as the trees begin to thin. Striding and peering forwards to the approaching clearing, it became... It was becoming... It became... Let's just go with... making. Striding and peering forwards to the approaching clearing, making clear that this was the sanctum Hasieret sought. The clearing was clearly God-touched, the sunlight warm and as if coming both from nowhere and yet every direction at once. The ground a sea of harlequin flowers, the scent of which changed with every passing moment despite the unnatural lack of even the smallest breeze. At the centre of this idyllic grove stood a single tree. The tree a wonder to behold, constantly shifting as though the seasons and years were passing in the span of breaths. Leaves and flowers, growing, blossoming, withering and falling in moments. All except for a single flower, larger than all the rest, which was perfect and timeless against this roiling sea of passing years, wondrous and the object of Hasira's quest. Edit hammer go smash, edit hammer go smash. Okay. Reformat. We're happy with that. Then we word count based on that PDF. So I open the real PDF rather than the preview one. Give me a sec, this is happening off screen relative to you. Cut and paste. And then cut and paste. That's raising that I have some typo errors. We've got belold instead of behold. And we've got I can't spell idyllic, supposedly. I'm terrible for spelling. Isn't it idyllic with I-D-I-L-L-I-C? No, it's got a Y. Idyllic with a Y. Okay, and what was the other typo? No, that was it. Okay, word count me. 302. I am happy with that. And there was one more. After belold is constantly. Is that the correct spelling? Yes. Okay. Then I think I'm good with that. Recompile. Nope. What's screwed up? Why has this... Oh, it doesn't like it because I've got the PDF open. Yes. My fault. Blobber idiot. Fixed. And then we... comment out this. Get recompile. comment out that. Recompile. Done. And with 10 minutes to spare. I'm happy. I know that's sort of nominally slightly early, but on the other hand, it did take me sort of 10 minutes to do scene building and stuff, and you were warned, Deathshead, before that, if it was a lot more than 10 minutes, so you're sort of getting off a bit easy there, realistically. But you were warned that if you did weird things that took lots of time to set up, that time would, in part, be coming out of some of these dictators. So I think that's fair, and it's sort of a natural stopping point. Maybe add in the stars change. Oh, yes. Okay, we can do that stars thing. Sure. We got time for that. I like that. I like that enough that it's... I'll spend the time to do that. So it was, So we want one more IT shape. And give me one more sec. I want to look something up to use as inspiration that I know. Come on, if we can get that quickly. Searching among wonders, among... Yeah, we'll go with wonders. We're probably overusing the word wonders a bit, but say lovey. Wonders. I've never even heard of, let alone seen before. Stars. Totally unlike those of our village. "3 days I've been searching among wonders wonders I've never even heard of, let alone seen before, beneath stars." Well, maybe get rid of that. "3 days I've been searching. Three long days. 3 long days. I've been searching... Rearrange it slightly. I've been searching for 3 long days. I've been searching... We'll change it up even a little bit more. By the light... Light of 3 days. And beneath these stars, totally unlike those of my village. I've been searching. Let's look at that. They thought as the trees began to spread. In the light of... By the light? Probably by the light. By the light of 3 days, and beneath these stars. So, totally unlike those of our village. I've searched. Oh, present progressive. I want present progressive. Okay. Double check. That doesn't hopefully tip us over, but it shouldn't. Except I didn't end the italics because I'm an idiot. Normal font do. Save, close, PDF, let's recompile. Open PDF, check word count. Yeah, that got us up, but it's still below 350. 323. Happy, happy, happy. Okay. Done. Yeah. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed that Deathshead. It's very unlike the writing that I am used to doing, as I said. Oh no, I have. I mean, if you want to post it, but it was already, that Discord was already spamming me with notifications, and grumpy old man Blobber doesn't like bloop bloop, bloop bloop noises, so, already left. Already left. What on earth is this line length? Ninjin is too used to 2 columns. If something isn't in 2 columns, he can't read it. I will try not to smile. Yes, as I was saying, this is very different to the type of writing I'm used to doing. Mine is usually declarative, either like descriptions of experiments or procedures that were undertaken, or a dry, like, literature summary of a series of other papers to condense down information into a single thing, or like a description of a newly proposed concept, or like algorithm procedure for doing something. So it's very different to the creative writing that I was asked to do here. And that was interesting and challenging in a way, but also I'm happy enough with this, and one of the key things, this is actually a good thing to talk about. It's really easy to sort of not want to do something on the grounds of you don't think you're going to do as good a job at something as you would like to do. And sure, I would like this story to be even better and to be even more polished. But one of the ways that I really find useful for helping my motivation, for helping my, like, willingness to do something, is to think of the time limit, a time constraint, and in this case, there's a provided one in that it's a nominally 2-hour Dictator, as part of that process. It's a lot easier for me, or at least I have found it a lot easier to be able to look at the end of something after X period of time, maybe 2 hours writing this, or like when I made the, I am a model gamer who plays mostly games by Paradox musical parody video, like, that was time constrained down to I did that within 48 hours. Working to a time constraint helps me be happier with the end result, because even if the end result isn't perfect, which otherwise I'd be endlessly trying to push towards, or like, you know, close enough to perfect, I find it easier to be happy with a result knowing that it was built to a set time. Like, Knowing that this was built to 2 hours, I can say, okay, I'm not unhappy with that output for 2 hours. I'm not happy with the quantity and quality of that output for the fact that I'm working within that constraint. And I would suggest that if other people are having motivation issues or creative issues to, yeah, it gives you an excuse as to why it's a bit rubbish, why it isn't as perfect as you might want it to be. And that can help you. And it definitely helps me. Maybe it can help you if you personally are having issues with motivation or being willing to engage in some sort of creative activity because of concern that the end result will not be perfect. Think of the time constraints or other constraints that you're working towards and view the end product within the limits of those constraints so that you can be happy with it. Be happy with it, and be happy with living the life that does that. Okay. Cool. Thank you again, Deathshead. I hope you had a nice time. I didn't have an unpleasant time. I can put it that way. I definitely didn't have an unpleasant time. This is far preferable to Dino Crisis. Okay. Peace, peeps.